In 1991, at the absolute peak of his career, Magic Johnson, one of the greatest and most beloved athletes on the planet, walked up to a microphone and told the world he had HIV. And almost everyone watching believed they were witnessing a death sentence, live on television, the end of a legend, right in front of them, in the middle of his prime. They were wrong, completely wrong, but nobody in that room and nobody watching at home knew that yet. The 7th of November, 1991. Magic Johnson stands at a podium and in front of a stunned press and a watching nation, he says he has tested positive for the virus that causes AIDS and that he is retiring from basketball immediately. Remember what HIV meant in 1991. To most of the public, it was a death sentence, full stop. And worse, it carried a brutal stigma, whispered about, associated with shame and fear. And here was one of the most famous, most admired, most alive men in America, a superstar in his prime, saying he had it. People genuinely feared they were watching a man announce his own coming death. Some assumed he had only a year or two left. So here are the questions this story turns on. How is it that a man who, in 1991, seemed to be announcing the end is still here, decades later, alive and thriving? And what did that single terrifying moment of honesty do not just to his life, but to the entire world's understanding of a disease? To see it, you have to go back to a kid in Michigan with a smile that could light up an arena. Irvin Johnson grew up in Lansing, Michigan, and as a teenager, he was so dazzling on the court that a local sports writer nicknamed him Magic. The name stuck because that's exactly what he did. He was nearly 6'9", the size of a big man, but he played point guard, the position for the smallest, quickest players, and he did it like no one before him. No-look passes, joy, flair, a genius for making everyone around him better. Keep that in mind, the joy, the smile. That's the heart of who he is. He led his college team to a national title, then went straight to the Los Angeles Lakers and turned them into a dynasty. If you like the stories behind the legends, take a second to subscribe and let's keep going. In Los Angeles, Magic became the engine of Showtime, the most exciting, glamorous era in basketball history. Fast breaks, highlight passes, Hollywood courtside, championship after championship. He won 5 NBA titles and 3 MVP awards, and his legendary rivalry with Larry Bird is often credited with saving the entire NBA and turning it into the global juggernaut it is today. He wasn't just a great player. He was a cultural icon, beloved across every divide, with that unmistakable smile on the cover of everything. He was rich, adored, healthy, in the prime of his life, at the very top of the world, a man who seemed to have been handed every gift with nothing but more triumph ahead of him. He was about to start another season, chasing more titles. And then, in the fall of 1991, a routine piece of paperwork quietly detonated all of it, in a way no one could have seen coming. Because before the 1991 season, Magic underwent a routine medical exam, the kind of standard, physical, connected to a life insurance policy, something completely ordinary for a professional athlete. And the blood test came back with a result no one expected. He was HIV positive. Try to imagine that moment. One day you are Magic Johnson, invincible, on top of the sport and the world. The next, a doctor is telling you that you carry a virus that at that time the public believed killed everyone it touched. He had a wife who was pregnant. He had a career, a legacy, a life. And he was now facing what felt in 1991 like a countdown. What he chose to do next took a kind of courage most people never have to summon, because Magic Johnson could have hidden it. He could have quietly slipped away, invented an injury, protected his image, and let the world guess. Instead, he walked out in front of the cameras and told the truth publicly, plainly, with dignity. He announced his diagnosis and his immediate retirement, and he promised to become a spokesman to help others understand the virus. In an instant, one of the most famous straight male athletes in the world had put a face, a beloved, familiar, smiling face on a disease that, until then, most of the public had kept at arm's length, wrapped in fear and judgment. It was one of the most stunning press conferences in the history of sports. And the reaction revealed just how frightened and how ignorant the world still was. Because the fear was everywhere. This was an era when many people wrongly believed you could catch HIV from casual contact, a handshake, sweat, sharing the court. When Magic attempted a brief comeback, some players openly said they were afraid to play against him, worried about a cut, a collision. Think about how alone that must have felt. Not just facing a frightening diagnosis, but being treated by some as something dangerous, something to avoid. And yet, this is exactly where Magic Johnson did the most important work of his life. By simply continuing to live openly and without shame, by talking about it, by educating people, he began single-handedly to change how an entire society understood HIV. He turned fear into information. He made it possible to talk about, and then came the part nobody in 1991 dared to predict. Magic Johnson didn't die. As medicine advanced, he began treatment with the antiretroviral therapies that were transforming HIV from a death sentence into a manageable condition, and he responded. 1 year became 5, 5 became 10. And now, more than 3 decades later, Magic Johnson is still very much alive, healthy, and thriving. He became a hugely successful businessman, building an empire, becoming part owner of major sports teams, one of the wealthiest former athletes in the world. And he never stopped being an advocate, a living, walking, smiling symbol that a diagnosis that once meant certain death did not have to be the end. For millions of people living with HIV, he became proof that there was life on the other side of that word. And there's a quiet, powerful lesson in that too. He had the fame and the money to get the very best care, yes, but he also used that platform to push loudly for research, for testing, for awareness, so that others might one day get the same chance he did. He turned his own survival into a mission to help people who would never have his resources. So here is the real story of Magic Johnson. Remember how we started, the man the world thought it was watching die. That day in 1991 looked like the tragic ending of a golden life. Instead, it turned out to be the beginning of his most important work. The same qualities that made him magic on the court, the fearlessness, the openness, that unkillable smile, are exactly what he used to face the scariest moment of his life without hiding. He took what felt like a death sentence and, by refusing to be ashamed of it, helped drag an entire society out of fear and into understanding. His 5 championships are extraordinary. But his greatest achievement isn't a trophy. It's that a man who was supposed to be a cautionary tale about dying became instead one of the most powerful stories the world has about living. So the greatest point guard ever, or the most important survivor in sports? Tell me in the comments. And subscribe, because next time we go behind the curtain on another legend the world only thinks it knows.